Hello, Star Citizens! Buzzkiller here, and welcome back to the hangar. Today is April Fool's Day. That's April 1st, 2016. Today, I'm finally going to give you the full review of the Xi'an Scout. But before we begin, I wanted to start off with some Star Citizen news. If you want to skip directly to the review, click on the timestamp in the description of this video below. On Wednesday, the 30th of March, the community team released their monthly subscriber edition of Reverse the Verse. This month's guest was the man himself, Chris Roberts. In the show, Chris and Ben answered several questions from the subscribers, and in the process, they dropped some major bombshells on us. The first is that the 2.4 patch is going to be enormous. In fact, Alpha 2.4 is being compared to the 2.0 release in terms of additional content and scope. In 2.4, the Starfarer will be flyable, and the new refueling mechanic will be implemented along with it. For those of you that own larger ships, the Starfarer will be given to you as a loaner until your ship, or one closer to it, is released to the hangar. The flyable Starfarer is just the tip of the iceberg, however. The big news is the release of Persistence. As Sandy said in Around the Verse, they're finally putting the P in the PU. This is going to be a fundamental change in the way we play Star Citizen. Over the past few months, CIG has been working on tons of new features that have been waiting for the Persistence to be released, and we'll start seeing a lot of them in 2.4. These features include the Persistent Reputation System, character health, ship loadout and damage persistence, and even the ability to purchase items in-game. Now that last one is huge, as we'll finally start to see the end of the Voyager Direct store on the website. To go along with that, CIG will be releasing a new form of currency called Alpha UEC. This currency is separate from the normal UEC we have purchased so far and can be earned in the Persistent universe by completing missions. The Alpha UEC can then be used to purchase everything from ships and components to character items like weapons and clothing. The reason for the new currency is to allow CIG to make changes to the economy as needed. So be prepared for your alpha balance to be wiped from time to time as those changes are implemented. Also in 2.4, they'll be releasing the beginnings of the character customization system. In the first release, we'll only be able to change our clothing. In a later patch, we'll be allowed to choose from 16 different character archetypes. This includes 8 males, and yes, finally, 8 females as well. And more in-depth options should be added later. Facial customization is also in the works, but likely won't be coming until much later. Another great feature that's been waiting for Persistence is the new holotable. The old holotable will be disabled, and for now we'll be using a Mobiglass app to make changes to our ship loadouts. The hangar table will get an overhaul and should make a reappearance at a later date. Currently, the holotable stores our loadouts on the client in a form of an XML database file. In 2.4, that function will be offloaded to the server and will persist between sessions, even if you log into Star Citizen from a different computer. Another upcoming change is the update to character movement. Vaulting and mantling will be added to 2.4. The push-pull mechanic for zero-G locomotion will be added soon afterwards. This system allows us to move around in space without the aid of EVA thrusters on our suits. Similar to physicalized EVA, expect a lot of tweaks to be made to ensure that the system ends up feeling just right. In later patches, we should see some other mechanics, such as the ability to finally lock the doors of our ships, as well as the ability to hack, force, or blow open said doors. And finally, they're in the process of implementing Vulkan and DirectX 12. The CryEngine was of course originally built around DX9, so there are a lot of changes that will have to be made to the core engine to get it working, so don't expect this one anytime in the near future. And with that, let's start on the review of the APOA Khartu-Al. Over the past few weeks, I've been doing a lot of testing on this ship, both in Arena Commander and the Persistent universe. And though the ship has come a long way since my last video, it's definitely not a dogfighter. That makes sense as the Xi'an Scout is, well, a scout, and it's not designed for prolonged engagements. So let's start off with the stats. The ship weighs in at 15,000 kilos and comes with 4 TR3 main thrusters along with 8 TR2 maneuvering thrusters. The main thrusters are highly gimbaled, which lend the ship its superior maneuverability. For weapons, the ship comes equipped with 2 fixed size 3 M5A laser cannons. The cannons pack a decent punch with a moderate fire rate, and with the 4 size 1 burying coolers on each wing, they rarely overheat. For defense, the ship comes with a single size 3 4-quadrant shield with a hit point rating of 200. The shields have a moderate recharge rate and seem to drop pretty fast under fire. To power all these components, the ship is equipped with 2 size 1 ACOM Starheart power plants, each putting out 1100 units of power per second. So with all that, how does the ship fly? In a word, amazing. The aforementioned gimbaled thrusters make the ship extremely maneuverable, and its top speed of 290 in SCM, 450 with the afterburner, and 900 meters per second in cruise make the ship an absolute joy to fly. My only complaint is that the ship's handling is a bit asymmetrical, in that it does better in the yaw axis than pitch. It's a minor complaint, but for a ship of this type of configuration, I think it should perform in all axes equally. When ripping around asteroids and other obstacles, the ship can orbit as close as you dare without hitting it. And it changes direction so fast that the primary limitation is the pilot's ability to withstand the forces. That being said, never turn off the G-safe in this ship. It's a one-way ticket to Sleepsville and is a good way to get yourself killed. The comm stab, on the other hand, works great in this ship. Sure, it clamps down on your speed, but when enabled, your forward direction indicator will remain locked forward in all but the most extreme maneuvers. Let's move on to combat. In the hands of a decent pilot, the ship excels in Vanduul Swarm. I was personally able to finish all 18 waves without taking more than a few hits to my shields. In fact, my only death in that round was due to losing orientation and slamming into an asteroid sideways. The weapons are fragile, however, and those few hits left me with one weapon for several waves. When it comes to fighting other players, however, the ship does suffer greatly. In Battle Royale, your front cross-section is so big that avoiding hits is all but impossible. Ballistics will often tear through your shields and destroy one or more of your main thrusters, leaving you a sitting duck for your opponent to pick apart at will. Any missiles that explode in your proximity tend to blow off at least one weapon, greatly reducing your offensive capabilities as well. When it comes to racing, the ship is quick and nimble, but again, the large front cross-section is your biggest disadvantage. Passing through partially closed rings and through buildings can be quite tricky, but the worst part of the race is going through the tunnel at the end of the lap. The only way to reliably fit is to turn your ship 90 degrees, and even then, it's easy to clip a wing on the top or bottom of the tunnel. So that brings us to the bottom line. Is the Khartu-Al worth it? At $170 US to pledge for this ship and 17,000 REC to rent it, it's the same price as an Aegis Saber. And while the ship is maneuverable as hell, it lacks firepower and is hard to handle in tight areas due to the aforementioned front cross-section. As such, I have a hard time recommending the ship to anyone in the current iteration of Star Citizen. Now, down the line, the ship may become an awesome scout. It may end up having superior sensor arrays, or maybe some stealth capabilities that lend itself well to that role. But as of right now, the only person I can recommend the ship to is a collector of alien ships, or those that really love the design, so much so that they can overlook a few of its biggest flaws. And with that, I'm going to end this video. As always, I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see my best lap of old Vandervaal and the full 3-wave speed run of the Vanduul Swarm, continue watching. For everyone else, this has been Buzzkiller, and I'll see you guys in the verse.
Vanduul Swarm initiated. Warning, there are multiple hostiles inbound. Zero hostile contacts remaining. Warning. There are multiple hostiles inbound.
Incoming hostiles! Nice shooting.
Zero hostile contacts remaining. Contact. Elite units en route.
Hostiles inbound.
Warning. You are approaching simulation boundary. Elite units eliminated. Warning. Checkpoint. 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 Lap complete.